Happy Halloween!
Ooh, spooky Halloween!
This is so not spooky.
It's so not spooky. It's not spooky at all. I think last year's episode was far more terrifying than this one.
Sure. Yeah, this one I don't even think we need the flashlights out for.
No, we probably don't need the flashlights out for this one.
I feel like we can go straight to the candied apples, though.
Yeah, candy apples. Bobbing for apples.
Yep. I'm Ash.
I'm Al.
We are Vie Cosplay.
This is Shit Cosplayers Say, and this is the 2022 Halloween episode. We are going to talk about the relationship between Halloween and cosplay. Since we figured there were probably a few of you that may have started cosplaying due to Halloween.
It happens.
I mean, that was kind of my situation for the most part. At least the first time I cosplayed was Halloween before I actually went to a convention. I made a very, very sad homemade Sailor Moon costume from like thrifted things from Goodwill.
Excellent.
With my own blonde hair and pigtails.
Excellent.
Yes, I am actually blonde, and I used to have hair down to my waist. So, of course, I put those in pigtails with like the little... You remember those like hair ties that had the little knockers on the end?
Yes.
Yep, I had red ones.
Ooh,
I used
okay.
those for my like little Odango like
shields, yeah.
Jewelry pieces. Definitely took a handkerchief from like Joann's and glued it to a t-shirt that I wore under like a blue pleated skirt with some gloves.
I love it.
Definitely would have been high school.
Yeah.
Probably like sophomore or junior year of high school. So 98, 99. So probably 99. But
yeah, I think the first time I cosplayed on Halloween, I made a costume of my OC Sailor Moon character.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Out of an old Halloween costume and a shirt that I had that didn't really fit very well anymore. And it was pretty scary. I don't think there's photographic evidence, and it's probably for the best.
There's definitely not photographic evidence of my... Well, there probably is somewhere in my parents' house, but I don't physically have it.
Sure.
There is evidence of my very first, like, cosplay at a convention, which wasn't any better because it was basically made the exact same way. In fact, I'm pretty sure I used the same skirt and the same
Excellent.
shirt and the same, like, handkerchief to do Neptune as I did Sailor Moon.
Beautiful.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Except
the next
that
year
I
I did
used that, like, temporary hair dye gel stuff that you could get in
Ew.
my hair, and then I curled it, and it was terrible. It was really awful. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, the next year I did, I tried to use iron-ons for the first time, and it wasn't anything like now where you have HTV that's amazing. You had to like print it out on the printer and then put it on, and it was a hot mess express. I made a white mage and a black mage for me and my friend, and they were very, very sad. I ended up with a Planet of the Apes staff from like the Halloween store because it had a similar shape to black mages. It was extra special.
Yeah, it's definitely easier now to cosplay at Halloween for the kiddos than it was when we were kiddos.
Yes, I'm kind of jealous because there are some Halloween costumes that are actually like decent enough quality that I would consider wearing to a con.
Because now you can just go to the Spirit of Halloween and ask for a cosplay costume.
Yes.
Side note, but I saw a post on Facebook about Spirit Halloween that made me crack up. But apparently Spirit Halloween, the concept of this like store that randomly appears for like 3 months out of the year is really strange to other parts of the world.
I saw that.
And people were trying to explain how like once a year this Halloween store appears and takes over like empty stores, and they don't even do like a permanent sign. They put up like a banner. Yep. And it's the Spirit Halloween that takes over these stores, these empty vacant stores. And so the
dead retail vessels.
Yeah, so the person that was like going back and forth with the American was like, so what you're saying is the Spirit of Halloween possesses vacant stores once a year. And it's like, yes, that's exactly how that works.
That's exactly how that works. And that's also why they disappear as quickly as they show up.
It's true.
The haunting is over.
The haunting is over. It has passed until another year.
I love it.
But yes, it is the
Yes.
spirit of Halloween. Where now you can pretty much get any Naruto costume that you want.
Yep.
Among others.
Among others.
So for this episode, we decided to go forth to the internet and ask for submissions of different experiences with cosplay and Halloween. Thank you. First off, we got so many, we couldn't even use a fourth of what was submitted. So we really appreciate the enthusiasm behind this idea. Shout out again to Sheprop for by far submitting the most entries for this concept. But we selected a few of our favorites and a few that were kind of diverse in terms of some ideas that I'd never thought of in terms of linking Halloween to cosplay. But we're going to start out with the ones that kind of fit under the what does Halloween and cosplay mean to you section, essentially. And so starting out our listener entries is Steam Who Cosplay. And this is what they had to say. Halloween was kind of a gateway drug for me to start cosplaying, as it has always been my holiday. I even preferred it to my birthday growing up. I made a costume for my school's costume day in 10th grade. And the following May, I decided on a whim to go to a Comic-Con. In looking up who would be there, I found out they had a costume contest. I am very competitive, so I decided to enter because why not? Next year will be 10 years since then, and I now have skills I never imagined I would gain and learn. I just completed my first costume I made 100% myself, and I am planning to compete with it next May at the very same Comic-Con. And what I really liked about this one was the gateway drug concept.
Yes.
Because for a lot of people, cosplaying on Halloween, especially back when we were kids, was the test run for this because it was not as mainstream. It was not a common thing to see somebody in a cosplay. So for a lot of us, this was the way to test the waters and see, like, how do I feel about this cosplay thing before you tried to take it out in the open, which wasn't quite as safe. Like, in the month of October, most people accept anytime they see a costume.
Well, and even like back when we were kids, though, depending on what you were wearing, I mean, cosplay was so new that some people even gave you like the weird little bit of a side eye if you weren't wearing what they expected to be like a traditional Halloween costume.
That's true.
Especially because I grew up in like a really small town, so I'm sure I got all sorts of looks. But yeah, you know, saying I'm gonna go have fun with this and do my thing.
Well, it's also one of those where, you know, when you're a kid, you look forward to Halloween because it's the one time you're allowed to dress up. And then that moment when you finally realize that doesn't have to be one day a year. To the point where now, like, and we're going to talk about it in a bit in this episode, where we don't necessarily dress up for Halloween anymore.
Oops.
But it is once that bridge happens where you realize, oh, I can do this more than once a year.
Haha.
And that's kind of what it's kind of how it starts.
It's like when you're a kid and you grow up and you realize, like, I can have cake on more than just my birthday.
Well, exactly. It's like, oh, this isn't just for this one occasion. Like, I can do this more times than once a year. Like, what
do you mean I can buy pumpkin pie not on Thanksgiving?
Right? I can eat chocolate before dinner? What?
What?
You know, it's funny that something like costumes, it's like when you get older as an adult, you realize that, oh, I can do this more than this one time a year.
Yeah. We're all just giant children.
We're all just nerds in costume.
Yes.
Yes, we are also giant children.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure we've been to multiple conventions that prove that nerds are just giant children.
Yes.
Giant drunk children.
Giant drunk children. All right.
Colossal con.
I mean, this is fine.
It's fine. Just don't expect to walk through the Kalahari at any point in time without getting spilt on, because it's a thing. It's a party.
All right. So, along the lines of what we've been talking about, I got itchy spider. When I was younger, I used Halloween as an excuse to cosplay and not be bullied for it. But the older I got, the more I actually started cosplaying year-round and not worrying about what others might think. If anything, I used Halloween as a cover to keep my feelings protected, but it was my stepping stone into being able to cosplay year-round.
So it was also much more common to be bullied for liking anime back when we were kids as well.
I was drawing Sailor Neptune in my 8th grade shop class, and my table mate looked over at me and goes, "Are you a lesbian?" Because I was drawing anime.
Right.
It's like, what do these things have to do with one another?
Well, I mean, you were drawing Neptune, so...
But this is before... This was before.
Is this while
I believe
they were
it was
cousins?
before. Well, I think it's before S came out in the States.
Oh, okay.
So, like, it was just really odd. It was a very strange comment that struck me as very... Yes, it was before S came out in the States. So, like... Even if he had ever watched Sailor Moon, like, he would have had no concept of who these characters were because they had never shown up on the dub.
Maybe it's because everyone expects all 8th graders to be like the girl on Turning Red, where she draws the boy that she likes from the convenience store.
I mean, maybe.
The most mortifying scene I've ever seen in a show in my entire life.
Oh my goodness.
When the mom goes to the convenience store.
Oh, it's terrifying.
My God.
It's terrifying.
I identify with this I almost called it an anime because it reminds me so much of anime because they do a lot of anime tropes throughout that movie and it's great.
It's my childhood.
My 90s child heart was very happy by that movie.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, Halloween is when you don't have to worry about, like, if you're out in a costume that anyone's going to give you an issue because pretty much the month of October is you're in the clear.
It's free game.
Like, no one, it's so funny when we, like, go and we do photo shoots and it's October, no one looks at you really weird. Like, people might glance, but they go, oh, it's a costume. It's October.
Right.
You know, it's October. This is fine. You know, we're just trekking through the woods in full Nightmare Before Christmas costumes, but this is fine. It's not weird at all, right?
Nope.
I got covered in burrs.
Eh?
I mean, that's when you know it's elevated, when you're able to go out in full costume to go do a photo shoot in the woods, and you're trekking through the woods in your full Nightmare Before Christmas costumes, and you're passing people because this is a popular park, and nobody's, like, reacting to the fact that there's an Oogie Boogie and a Sally walking through the woods.
No, this isn't weird.
This is apparently not weird at all.
Nope.
They did get covered in burrs. Covered in burrs. It is wild. It's wild, the difference that happens just because of the month. And I'm sure a lot of other people test cosplay out on Halloween because of Itchy Spider's reason too. You know, you're less likely to get picked on or bullied for it because this is the time of the year that costumes are, you know, expected, and
yeah,
nobody thinks it's out of the ordinary. I think you'll like our next one, Ash. It's cute. So Be the Spark Cosplay, who, if you have not met them, does some pretty remarkable work. Definitely go check out their Instagram feed. They are best known for their Cinderella with the glass arm. So that is their most known costume. Be the Spark said, Halloween is what first got me into cosplay. I had made a few things for Renaissance fairs, but no specific characters. My daughter wanted to dress up as Belle one Halloween, so I made her the gold ball gown, and then decided I wanted one too. Walking around the neighborhood and having little girls think I was a real princess was one of the most magical moments of my life. I've been chasing that high ever since.
Wholesome content.
Be the Spark has done some pretty impressive princess costumes. I love that it was her daughter that got her into this to start with.
Oh, please.
Because small children in costume is the best.
Yes.
Have you picked out your family costume extravaganza for this year?
Yes, we're doing the Rebels.
Oh, please. That's adorable.
Yep.
That's very cute.
Yes, for those of you that don't remember, we did Toad, Mario, and Peach last year, and this year we're doing the Rebels from the Flintstones.
That'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Bam, bam.
Yep. Yep. I even ordered a little hat to like clip in his hair instead of a big full-size bowl cap. I can't wait.
You get him a foam mallet thing that he can carry around.
Yes, I found it's like plushy.
Yeah, like a little plush stick thing.
I think it's fabric and it's stuffed with like foam.
Yeah.
And yeah, he'll have a club.
Boy.
Yep.
He will hit all the things with it.
Please?
All of the things.
That's kind of the point.
I mean, it is.
Yeah.
But I love when families come up with costumes together.
It makes me happy.
Super adorable.
Yep. Alrighty. So our next one goes to our friend Prince Welcome Matt. I actually cosplayed for the first time at Halloween. My grandma handmade me a Naruto jacket with her own pattern, orange and blue with a little felt knife and everything. I asked my mom to buy me a wig. I was 13, sue me. And she refused, saying my hair was fine and I'd be recognizable without it. That was the first time I decided I might want my hair short. Not that my mom said yes to that either.
And Castiel did send us an adorable picture of them 13 years old in their Naruto costume.
I love it.
They are precious. If you do not know, Castiel is the TikToker Prince Welcome Matt, who does some pretty, both really funny sketches, but also very real sketches about self-identity and gender on their TikTok and their Instagram. And they also would not be the first person that has sent in to us that has said, and this is when I realized I might want this.
Yep.
This is when I realized I might want that. It seems to be a common thread with cosplay.
And I definitely relate to this story because, like, my grandmas are the ones that taught me how to sew. And so my 8th grade costume I was talking about earlier, my grandma helped me sew on her machine. And then it was the same thing. I actually cosplayed twice for prom. And it was the same thing. Like, I bought the pattern and I bought the fabrics and she helped me to make it. And so we had some good bonding times over working on cosplay.
My grandmother didn't teach me to sew, but she was always very supportive of it. So she would she's the one who bought me my first sewing kit box. She would save all the little sewing bits and pieces for me.
Yeah.
When she passed, I actually got the whole bag of sewing notions from literally between I think I have some as far back as the 40s.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's still in the packages. I need to put them. I keep meaning to do a big shadow box kind of thing and put them up. But
that would be fun.
I have a bunch of old retro notions that are still in their packages.
I love it.
But I want to say one of them is at least most of them are the 60s. But I want to say one or two of them are 40s or 50s. But yeah, they're kind of neat. And a lot of buttons.
That makes me really happy.
A whole thing of buttons. But yeah,
yeah.
I have, they have the packages. It's the old-fashioned packaging, and it's kind of neat. I have an old scissors in there that's right-handed, so I can't use it, but it looks cool. Of course. It's right-handed, so I can't use it, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
It's one of the big heavy-duty metal shears.
Oh, that's super fun.
Well, and I did get. It was really my grandfather did a lot of the sewing, so the machine that I got was really his, and I still haven't figured out how to use it, but I have it. I don't have any directions on how to use it. It has some sort of embroidery function on it, too, and I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with it.
You're just going to have to play with it.
Someday, I'll pull it out and see if it works.
Well, and honestly, though, a lot of those, you can find, the old books for them on the internet, so.
I think it even has the book with it still. I just haven't taken the time to, pull it out, but it definitely has, a monogram kit with it.
That's fun.
It has all the different letters and different fonts and stuff.
Neat.
So, yeah. Oh, one machine at a time. Now we're going to get into some wacky, fun things that were sent to us. I had one just really fun story sent from Adventures of Clever. And they live in Salem, Massachusetts. So,
Been there,
when
yeah.
I asked them about Halloween, they had a story to tell.
Excellent.
Adventures of Clever says, okay, I have so much to add. I am from Salem, Massachusetts, USA, the Witch City. Halloween is a lifestyle here. We celebrate it all year. And in October, it is 31 days of festivals, events, parades, masquerade balls, street performers, and costumed buskers. It is unlike anything most people have seen. Thousands of people in costume all month long. Decorations everywhere, and I mean everywhere. Even a pet costume contest that takes over the wharf. We have shops that sell Halloween all year round. Businesses on the outskirts close early on Halloween because the city is so packed you can't get anywhere. The streets themselves close around 3 or 4 p.m. to pedestrians only. The military comes in to help close the night at around 10 p.m. and it is intense. But oddly enough, I hated dressing up. I live for October, but I have always hated costumes. I was supposed to have a costumed wedding, and I flat out told my husband that if I had to dress up, I literally wouldn't marry him. I hate clothes, and I especially hate pretending to be someone I am not. However, when I discovered my character, Mr. Clever from Doctor Who, I was hooked. I cosplayed as him, and only him, for 9 years. I've been featured in many publications in town as him as well. I tried other cosplays and hated it. Just kept being clever. This past October, however, the crowds were like nothing we've ever seen, so I had to come up with something that was crowd safe. So I threw together a Paul from Dune. Still hate pretending to be someone else, except for clever. And I still live for October. I want to go to Salem in October.
I was going to say, I went to Salem in July, and it was not like that. So I was a little disappointed when I went to Salem, but a lot of the stuff that I'd wanted to do was closed, either from the day of the week or like the time that we went. And the only stuff that was like super open was a lot of the like kitschy, like pirate witch monster shops, and not any of the cool historical stuff. So like we got to go see the Friendship, and then we got to go to like a graveyard, but a bunch of other stuff was like getting ready to close or closed, and I was like, oh, well, that's kind of disappointing and sad.
So it's like when we went to Spain and everything was closed.
Yes. There was a random statue of Samantha from Bewitched. I mean, whatever works. I mean,
well, apparently you have to go in October.
I mean, that seems appropriate though. So
that
I feel like that's fine.
Experience Halloween all month long.
Yes. Well, and I would like to go back to Boston too. So, I mean, I feel it's only a hop, skip, and a jump. So,
I mean, Anime Boston's been on our list for a while. So
that's not in October.
It's not in October. That's true. It's in the summer. That doesn't help.
No, it doesn't.
No. Who knows of a con in Boston in October?
Or near Boston. I mean, New England. New England's not ginormous. So
in October.
In October. I mean, I'm sure we could find one.
I'm sure you could find one.
Yes. But if you have any to recommend, let us know.
Let us know. So the other big question is, how do you treat Halloween now? I don't really do much for Halloween anymore. I mean, I put some decorations up, but like the joke's always that we have closets and closets full of costumes, but we have nothing to wear. Well, part of it's because I don't want to get my stuff ruined at parties. Like, and I'm not wearing some big fancy competition piece to a Halloween party.
Yeah, nothing that I have is really like party or work appropriate.
Well, right.
For the most part. So, yeah. Now, I will say, now with the addition to our family, we have started doing a family Halloween, but before our executive producer was here, it's been a very long time. Probably like at least 10 or 15 years, if not longer, since the last time I dressed up for Halloween before that. So, I mean, I probably did it. I did it a couple times in my 20s just for funsies, but yeah, no thanks.
I mean, if I need to get dressed for Halloween, I literally just pull the same Baby the Stars Shine Bright dress out and put it on every time I have Vampire Forest, and I just put it on.
Yeah, that one was dirt cheap.
Yeah, that one was ridiculously cheap. It has far surpassed its price that I paid for it, but I just throw that cord on, and I'm good. I'm good to go. I'm all spooky.
Spooky.
Here we go. Because I'm just like, I don't want to put cosplay costume on for a Halloween party. I don't know. I don't know why it is, because, like, but sometimes we're like that at con at this point, too. We're like, I don't feel like putting on this costume.
They're a lot of work.
So much
and a lot of mental energy.
I also probably feel like that because I just did 2 photo shoots last weekend, so.
That probably has part of it to do with it.
Like, I did a lot of work to put these on to then take them off less than 2 hours later.
Yes.
I still don't know how the TikTokers do it so frequently, because it's a lot of work to get into these to then just get right back out of them.
I'm assuming that you just do a lot while you have it on and then wait and then post it over an extended period of time.
I mean, that would make sense. But we're really bad at remembering to do TikToks when we're in costume, so...
We definitely do not.
Yeah.
I had all these grand plans for when we went to Spain, and it just did not
it didn't
occur.
happen. I'm proud of us for the fact that we actually took photos.
Yes.
So that is a step in the right direction, because we're really bad about, like, logging our adventures at con. Because we're too busy and then forget to log our adventures. So at least we remembered to take photos in Spain. I have one video. I have a video of Amazonian helping taking our banner down.
Excellent.
I have one video. Us remembering to take video at con is a 2023 problem.
One video is better than 0 videos.
Yes.
So
At con and or during or after photo shoots.
Yo.
But yes. We're trying.
Because we also didn't do that.
No, we forgot to do that, but we were kind of we had a very tight time frame with our last photo shoot.
It's fine.
We finally shot Wicked Lady and Mistress 9, so y'all are gonna actually know what they look like.
Weird.
They do exist.
They do exist.
We did do the photo shoot. It did happen, finally. Thank you, Underless Perry. But we finally got our shoots we're in the process of rescheduling all our shoots that got canceled during the time of chaos.
The time of chaos.
The time of chaos, because if it could go wrong, it did go wrong between July and September.
Of course it did.
We had multiple shoots we had to reschedule, so we're still in the process of getting those rescheduled so you can actually have content with both of us in it? What?
I do exist. Haha.
What? What is this? Both of us in a photo shoot. I mean, it does help that I live 20 minutes from the photo studio and you live like over an hour, so.
Yes.
You know, that's part of it.
Yeah, it definitely is. I feel like I could get a lot done if I live 20 minutes from the photo studio.
Yes, we could probably get a lot more photo shoots done if you also live 20 minutes from the photo studio, but that is not the case, so.
No.
We have to plan in advance to
work with what we got,
to do shoots at the same time and make sure that we have the costumes in the way they need to be before we do them. So adventures.
So we
did get some listener stories about how you treat Halloween now. One of our first ones is from Maral. And Maral says, I'm in Canada. I love spooky things, and I used to love dressing up for Halloween, but since I started cosplaying, I hardly ever put any effort into my Halloween, as all my costuming energy goes into stuff for cons and photo shoots. Also, the general public just doesn't get or appreciate most of my stuff, as my costumes are fairly obscure. I've been hit by the "that looks rented" curse at far too many Halloween costume contests. The most notable was one Halloween party put on by a local TV station, which used to be judged by industry people. Gonna try that again. The most notable was one Halloween party put on by a local TV station, which used to be judged by industry people, so it was actually pretty great and had good prizes. Then it got taken over by a different group who had the band choose the costume winners by having everyone dance in a big circle. The prizes all went to more homemade looking costumes, so anyone looking too good got shafted.
Are you having flashbacks to when you did the Vampire Hunter D group at ASEN?
Yep. I had a group get disqualified once for our costumes being too good. Way back in the day, before it was super common to have like high level, like professional looking costumes in a contest. We had a group get disqualified for them assuming that we had professionals make our costumes. Because this was back when that would not have necessarily been a thing that would have been allowed.
Yeah.
But it was also before professional cosplayers existed or divisions.
Yes.
Throw that out there.
All those things.
You hear this story a lot about you go to the Halloween contest at the bar and the girl in the bikini wins first place when you brought like a whole suit of armor.
I just don't want any beer spilled on my cosplays.
Right. But it's like, I mean, those type of contests are not, no, your costume's not going to get appreciated. Like,
no, it would not.
That's not what no, it's not going to get appreciated. Like, don't fool yourself into thinking that that's going to work, because it's not going to work. Like,
nope.
9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen. And if a child enters, the child will 100% win.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
Don't even try. Like, they're not looking for the quality of your costume. Like, that's not what I don't know what they're looking for exactly, but it's definitely
They probably don't know.
They probably don't know either. That's my favorite character.
Sure. It's like all the old Judges' Choice Awards from back in the day where it's like, I'm giving this to you because X.
Because I feel like it.
Yes, pretty much.
Yes.
Our next story comes from Vie Cosplay, who says, I'm a cosplayer who's grown up loving dressing up on Halloween, but I've always separated the holiday and cosplay. When I was 8, I made 4 Ninja Turtle costumes for myself and my friends with the cardboard shells and scraps of fabric, and we would roleplay in them. But when it came to Halloween, I wore whatever was in Mom's Halloween box. At 10, I realized I could make a Halloween costume myself, so I got a cardboard box and turned it into a refrigerator using just glue and paper, and ended up winning 2nd place in the school's costume contest behind a kid whose mom sewed their entire costume. It looked very professional. So from a young age, before cosplay was even a thing, I had some realization that you should enjoy the characters you love with friends who understand them, but don't get them mixed up with the no-rules social competitions of Halloween. Wearing your cosplay on Halloween is a bit like sharing your epic fantasy novel with your sports-loving family, revealing a work that took so much effort with people who have no context or understanding of the craft, the genre, the characters, references, or details. It's just setting yourself up for misunderstandings and disappointment. Also, a good way to get your delicate props broken. So what I do now is make low-effort weekend project costumes specifically for Halloween that are great with kids and mainstream recognizable, like the fairy godmother from Cinderella. I also make easy wear costumes for my kids that they can be comfortable worn both at Halloween or for a day of Comic-Con, so they get more than once. People who see me trick-or-treating might not be seeing my best work, but they do see something homemade and different, and occasionally it's a conversation starter about the cosplay craft.
I don't think this could have been put better than wearing your cosplay on Halloween is a bit like sharing your epic fantasy novel with your sports-loving family. I feel like sharing cosplay with anyone that isn't a cosplayer is like sharing your epic fantasy novel with your sports-loving family.
Could be. Well, and like, so growing up, I had two drastically different reactions from my parents, who are both divorced and they are divorced and remarried. So on the one hand, my mother made jokes that my cosplay and anime cons were a cult. And then on the flip side of that, my dad and my stepmom came to watch us compete for ICL. I mean, so there's varying levels of support.
I mean, my parents have accepted this existence and that it's not going away at this point.
Yes. Uh-huh.
I don't think I got to tell this story on the podcast, speaking of, like, support, though. My work put us in the newsletter for my office.
That's adorable.
So my therapy lead emails me when I get back from Spain, and she's like, so we want to put you in the newsletter. Can you send me, like, a little blurb about what you actually did in Spain? And I'm like, okay, sure, why not? Because at this point, I mean, I don't have a very big office. It's not a huge clinic. Like, there's not a ton of us. Most people know I was in Spain. A lot of them know it was for something with a costume. I'm like, I don't care at this point. Whatever. You know, so I put that in and I sent her a picture. But, like, when we got back from Spain, a bunch of my, like, coworkers were asking me if we won or not and, like, what we did. And I'm like, this is adorable because I feel like most jobs would be like, you did what? Like, that's so weird. It's nice to know that if we ever get another one, they'll be supportive of me being gone again for a week and a half. So, hey.
Yep. All good.
But it was pretty funny. And they don't all get it, but they try, and it's kind of adorable. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
So we also had a couple stories sent in that I don't know how to describe them exactly, but almost like other purposes for Halloween that were, like, related to cosplay, which I just found really interesting, from Hireth Solo Cos on Instagram. And they said, Samhain, October 31st. I'm in the US, but I celebrate the pagan calendar. Definitely influenced cosplay for me because it was when I gave myself a definite deadline for projects before I realized I could just dress up all year round. I definitely do more casual cosplays on this day compared to more lavish ones for cons. If anything, that's where I first learned to start organizing projects to meet deadlines. So I never thought about using the holiday as, like, its own deadline for your costumes.
Sure.
But that makes sense because...
Well, yeah, because it's not like you can push it off to another con, because if you're going to wear it for Halloween, you have to have it for that year.
Right, and just using it as, like, a benchmark in general, even if it's not what you're going to wear for Halloween.
Yeah.
I think was really an interesting choice.
Well, and just, like, logistically for the time of year, it's before the crazy of the, like, November, December holidays.
Right.
So, yeah.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you can also use Halloween as your cosplay due date.
Sure.
Woohoo!
And our next one comes from Abby Cat, who says, Halloween has been one of my favorite holidays forever. I'd start planning my Halloween costumes practically November 1st. I still love it. As a cosplayer, I had to find a way to justify making a new costume just for Halloween when I already had a closet full of them. So that's why I started the Stash Challenge. I can make a new Halloween costume as long as I use materials exclusively from my stash. Turns out I like that so much that I'm a Stash cosplayer now too. Halloween is the best.
Abby's 2022 Halloween outfit is absolutely adorable. It's a super cute orange dress. It's absolutely adorable. I love this idea of like, well, I have to make this like costume. It's not going to be something super fancy. I'm going to use all my leftover stuff to put it together.
Yes. Recycling at its finest.
Right. I am working on trying to put together a semi-stash costume with all the massive amounts of purple and white that are going to be left over from Hinoto and Sinbad.
Well,
Because, of course, they didn't need the same whites or the same purples for both costumes.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Of course not.
That would have been convenient.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully tomorrow, because this will air on the 30th, so the 31st will be the next day, that you all have a happy Halloween.
Spooky.
But that is all our Halloween stories for our Halloween episode 2022. Thank you again for submitting. If you have any stories about cosplay and Halloween, drop them in the comments on our Instagram post at Vie Cosplay for this episode.
Trick or treat, guys. I'm Ash.
I'm Elle.
We are Vie Cosplay.
And this is Shit Cosplayers Say. You've been listening to Shit Cosplayers Say, an LVC production. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Podcast SCS. Our website is lavicosplay.com. Have a fun, crazy con or cosplay-related story, absurd cosplay question, or just something in general to share with us? Email us at podcastscs@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and remember, just because you can doesn't mean you should.